Sky TV, BBC, Euronews, France 24, and DW, all broadcasting these things. The Russian Foreign Minister already threatened NATO's country and European Union, also America. What do you think, George? What's going to be happen? We are supplying arms and ammunition, everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have every legal right to, so they can't stop us. The question is whether we want to, because the problem is that Zelensky should have known that Russia was going to destroy Ukraine. They should have surrendered. They should have basically stopped the damage, the fighting by surrendering. Now that Zelensky wants to be a hero, now he's in a mess. We're going to have to bail him out. We have no choice.
Politics is nasty business. World leader pushing him to stay on the power. If he out of the country and his administration collapse, Ukraine is right now is not this kind of situation. You remember last year what's happened in Afghanistan? Afghanistan government, they left the country when the Taliban came. And Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani, president, he told them all network, I don't want any bloodshed. America already signed up with Taliban. I cannot do anything. I don't want to kill any human being in my country. Enough is enough. He look like he is the man, good politician. What do you think?
Well, in Afghanistan, it's a somewhat different situation because this is attempting to contain Putin, with the economic sanctions. He's decided to invade the Ukraine. He will win for a while, because he's destroying them militarily. But the world, what we have to bring him, to rein him in, are the economic sanctions, are the embargoes and all. And slowly but surely that'll happen. So because, the difference between Afghanistan and here in the Ukraine is that Putin would not stop with Ukraine. Putin, any nation within his sphere of influence that's not a part of NATO is on his sights. But rather than continuing, this is going to play out. And again, Russia's going to be economically ruined. So this is just the part where it's difficult for the world while he's killing people. But Russia's done, Putin's done. In the meantime, we need to address more fundamental problems, like why Putin invaded the Ukraine. And basically it was a thank you to Donald Trump from Donald Trump to Donald Trump for their complicity. Basically Putin helped him get elected. So now Putin is basically helping him to avoid criminal prosecution. Basically, he's distracting the two of them and the rich, because this is the conspiracy. They are distracting us from prosecuting Trump. That is the fundamental work that needs to be done while economic sanctions are taking effect.
You bring another traffic. Of course, we remember end of the 2018, he hired the lawyer called Rudy Giuliani. And he is his personal lawyer and also personal advisor for world community. And he sent the Giuliani and European Union American ambassador to Ukraine, Kiev, talk to current president Zelensky, to Biden's son doing corrupt over there. Biden did some corruption. Biden this, do this, do this, do this, and they can do the inquiry, Biden and Biden family. But Zelensky and their administration, they say no. Biden's son and Biden, they never did anything wrong. Biden's son working with contract. Oil industry, he working with the contract. Oil company give him money, not me, not Ukrainian people. I cannot make any kind of bad judgment. But Donald Trump administration pushing him lot. But he don't do anything wrong, my eyes. Giuliani makes so much noise with these things. We remember that, probably you know that. So, Trump and Vladimir Putin, they are part of this architect destroying the Ukraine. And they're going to attack NATO. George, what is your idea, man? What we can solve, how we can solve this problem?
Militarily, Putin doesn't have a chance. The United States is stronger militarily than every other country in the world combined. So I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about going forward. I'm worried about, not having people like Trump around to start wars like the one in Ukraine. Let's just consider what happened on January 6th. Now, Trump assembled his crowd outside of the Capitol building. Now, here's the question that we want to ask ourselves, that we want to talk about and really understand. Did Trump truly think that assembling his people outside of the Capitol and asking them to yell, whatever, does he really think that that was going to stop the certification process? That's the question, because that's the question that the jury is going to be asked when Trump is indicted and is being questioned. He's going to be asked, did you really think that they're standing out there and yelling would do anything? And now the answer, who knows what Trump will say, but what will the jury think? Well, the jury is instructed to understand what they're adjudicating within the framework of what's known as the reasonable person standard, which means that they ask themselves, well, what would a reasonable person think in Trump's situation? And they're naturally going to conclude, no, a reasonable person would not conclude that just standing outside of the Capitol would do anything to stop the certification process. So that is the evidence that shows that Trump intended them to attack the Capitol. And once the jury understands that, Trump is incarcerated for the rest of his life. And that is when we can begin to fix the problem of Putin in Ukraine and the kind of mess that we're in now.
George, you bring law in order, United States of America. Our law in order, Justice Department, court system, they don't want it embarrassing our president, whole of the world. Probably that's why they're not doing anything yet. United States president, one of the, whatever he was an ex-president, he's not a current, but he's the powerful man in the world, powerful man in the free world. Probably that's why our court system and Justice Department, they are not doing anything. This is my idea. I don't know what is you thinking about.
Well, if they chose to go that route, we wouldn't have a democracy. What would happen is the extreme right, Trump's people, would unite with the extreme left, my people, against the rich who allowed Trump to go free. That's what would happen. I don't think they want that to happen.
But how right now, what is the issue in Ukraine and what is the issue in Middle Eastern country? How are we going to solve this? Do you have any kind of clue?
Yeah, I mean, as long as the rich control everything, the newspaper, the politics, we cannot solve it. The only way we can solve it is by starting by demanding that Garland indict Trump and that he is convicted of treason. That's how we fight Russia and fix the world problems. If we don't do that, we can't do anything. If we do that, we can do everything.
One of the country in the world called Saudi Arabia, the oily country. America build everything, oil grid to everything in Saudi Arabia. American contractor, American government, American soldiers. Right now, they don't want to sell any oil to America. They're going to sell all oil to China. They sign up already. 9/11, all people, majority people from Saudi Arabia. Our George W. Bush presidency and his administration doing nothing. Nothing. They give country and leaders and criminal free pass. George W. Bush bombing Iraq and Afghanistan. If that time our American people and administration attack Saudi Arabia is learned lot, but we don't do that. Our politics is not right track. We are selfish, We are democratic and democracy. I don't think so, George. Now Saudi Arabia is show us finger,
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, it's not necessary, it's not really it's we who allow the rich to do this. Because the rich, they call the shots, they control what happens and doesn't happen. We need to keep that in mind. So yes, as long as they have the power, basically, we who are not rich are going to have to wage an economic, social. We can't wage a military war, but we have to wage every kind of political war possible to bring the rich down. Otherwise, they will bring everyone down, including themselves.
This morning, our president talked with Chinese president over the phone or virtual, conference over 2 hours. But America thinking China right now supplying arms, ammunition, and soldier to the Russia. American intelligence branch, telling us. But if they supply arms, ammunition, and soldiers, what's going to be happen? George?
Yeah, I mean, like when we talk about Jinping, China, I mean, like they are controlled by the rich just like we are. So what's going to happen? They want to extend this war to protect Trump because Trump is protecting the rich. And to make money, the lives aren't really all that important to them. So we have to hope that people wake up to this fact that this war does not have to happen, that we do not need to allow people like Putin to start these wars. There has to be an outrage among the people that the war started to begin with, and a demand that Putin be removed, that the sanctions become even stronger, so strong that they can't possibly resist them.
You talking that sanction is my viewpoint. I'm talking myself and my viewpoint. Since 1970s to as of today, sanction is not work. North Korea, since 1951, independence from Korean Peninsula. What's happened? We put so many embargoes, so many sanctions, but every single week he making one kind of missile, other kind of missile, nuclear missile, so many things. He do not stop. Where is the money come from? And same thing Iran, same thing Syria, same thing Libya, is not stop. Now we putting the sanction and embargo in Pakistan. Pakistan used to be a ally in United States. Right now, this administration, the Imran Khan administration, they do not support United States. They support Russia. That's why American government put some kind of sanction with Pakistani business, Pakistani government. It's not work. It's nothing is work. You can see Cuba since 1960s. Do you think is sanction going to be work, my brother? And also Venezuela is close to us. Venezuela and Cuba. People surviving and people can do their daily business. Right now, we have to think how we can talk and peacefully this aggression. This aggression have to be stopped. NATO's leaders, European leaders, and G7 leaders, they have to sit down, do something for Ukraine and global world. This is my view, my think. What is your idea?
Well, in order for that to happen, they would have to be rallied to do that by the newspapers. Unfortunately, the newspapers are part of the people who created this war, who want to sustain it. They have their friends in the arms industry that are making money on this war. So we can't rely on a popular uprising that has no news coverage. Worst case scenario, one thing, and this, God forbid this happen, but if the people are made powerless, we need to remember that this pandemic brought down the world, still bringing down the world for over 2 years. And basically, we understand that it was a virus, a SARS virus, and the world understands this. So what the rich people, the rich leaders of the world need to now consider is that throughout the world, every country, there are college students who understand how these viruses work. There are people all over the world, and at any moment, they can unleash another pandemic anytime, in any part of the world, including the United States. So if the rich do not allow people access to their voices, their opinions through the media, and the people can't win militarily, the rich need to understand that biological warfare would be an alternative they would consider if they made things bad enough. If they continued this war, that's what the rich need to fear, because they cannot protect themselves from chemists creating variants of this coronavirus and continuing this pandemic and ruining their economies.
You are right. George, please stay with us. Viewers, we are going to short break. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
community, cities, country upset. Asian, continental, Middle East, North Africa, we did our American politician and Senate Congress, they did lot of mistake. Right now, African continental and Asian countries, they do not support United States of America. Asia, only one country, a small land, Israel. They support us, United States. No other country in the Asia support us. Reason? We make them anger. We push them way back and we destroy them. People understood American policy, American rule regulation. This is the time Western Alliance, NATO's, European Union, we have a time to learn who is our friend, who is our enemy. We invest billions of dollars for their defense, their roads and highway, and their education system, their sewerage system, and their health system. US aid, billions of dollars going to Southeast Asia and Mid Asia, West Asia, North Africa, and South Africa, East Africa, West Africa, everywhere, South America. So we make lots of enemy, but we do not have any right now good friend. Only few country, European Union, they are part of, so-called NATO's. NATO's country is 27 or 28 countries, but not fully European Union. So who support us?
I think we may want to stop thinking in terms of countries and start thinking more in terms of the rich people who are controlling them, because they're working together. Sometimes we think that China and Russia and the United States are working against each other. They're not, in a sense that it's the rich people in Russia, the billionaires, and the billionaires in China and the billionaires here, who basically do with these countries what they want. And one of the things they do is they create the popular misconception that, it's about this country against this country, it's about this religious group against this religious group, or this race against this race. They divide and conquer. They've been doing this for years and years. It's time we wake up. It's time we wake up. It's not about the countries, it's about the rich people who control those countries.
You were right. Our lobbyist industries like a gun manufacturer, ammunition, tank, and fighter jet like Lockheed Martin and bomb industry. So many industry. They have hundreds of lobbyists in Congress, Senate, White House. Is like brokerage, license brokerage. For them, now is countries. So many countries in the world is destroyed. Now Ukraine is destroyed. But American people have a soft heart, good heart. American people helping Ukrainian, all kind of people. But our gun industry and all other industry, they making billions of dollars from our government. This is the time they can make money. So, hopefully, politician understood. But, George, they never understand. Reason, they are not a truthful politician and truthful human being. They always make some kind of politics with their family, with their neighbor, with their cities. They do not work for the country. So I don't know what you think with the politician and this Western alliance and Asia and African countries.
And Noor, I'm actually optimistic in both the short term and the long term, because I think you're right. The American people are good people when they understand what's going on, when they're told the truth, when they know the truth. And they're going to understand that if Trump does not go to prison, we don't have a country anymore, even a pseudo country. So that's in the short term. So that's why I'm confident that once we do that, then we will make sure that the money gets out of politics. But in the long run, ask yourself, how did they get to a place where they abandoned all their morals, all their principles, and nominated and had as their president Donald Trump, and they're still behind him? How did they get to that point? They realize that their time is near. They realize that the end of their reign is coming, because of climate change, because the young kids are so much smarter than they are, because we can't afford ecologically, financially, morally to allow them to control things anymore. So, Trump, this insurrection, these are Hail Mary passes. They don't know what to do. And so they've overreached. They overreached by having Trump invade our capital on January 6th. And so once we're paying attention, we may not pay attention until, who knows, August, September, because the idea is if the Democrats are not completely corrupt, and this is the big thing, if they are not completely corrupt, they will destroy the Republican Party at the polls in November. Because if they can do that, once Trump is in prison, and once everybody understands that he went to prison for attempting to overthrow our country. So we'll see. We'll see if the Democrats are willing to be even more. History will see the Democrats as more evil than Trump if they don't prosecute him. And then, but after that, there will be chaos. It will be a different country. But I'm optimistic because, reason and God and necessity are on the right of the people because of climate change. The threat of future pandemics, but especially climate change. Over the next 10, 20 years, it will get worse. It is getting worse. And we, eventually will have no choice but to face that. It'll be economic hardship on some people, I imagine, people to get people to understand, how the rich are harming them. But that time will come, and it's only 10, 20 years in the long. Again, I believe we will complete this by indicting and imprisoning Trump. I believe that once he's in prison, then yes, the next step is to get the money out of politics, and that's much easier once you have the entire Republican Party blamed for continuing to support someone who attempted to overthrow our government.
George, you are talking simply democracy. Democracy, who make it? Voter, American people. But America independence, 1776 or 75, and almost 245 or 46 years. But did you see any record, any president get arrested or jail time? No, never. 1979, hundreds of embassy staff, Iranian government arrested. They threw out the democracy government, Shah. And they killed few American diplomats. President Reagan come to power. Then they release them, some way, some diplomacy, they release them. Same time, President Reagan sold to billions of dollars arms, ammunition, fighter jet to Iran. This is called politics. That time, I remember, they have a lot of investigation, House, Senate, then Supreme Court. He came to Supreme Court, Washington. He told, I am not a president right now. When I was a president, what I did, I don't remember. I don't recall. Case is dismissed. So, if right now you bring the point, if ex-president going to Supreme Court, they have 6 judge Republican and only 3 Democrat. So who gonna win, George? Democracy gonna be win?
I'll tell you who wins.
Go ahead.
Basically, if the federal court indicts and convicts Trump to prison and the Supreme Court overturns it, Trump will have absolutely no choice but to pack the court. So now the Republicans have a majority. Once Biden packs the court, they will be in a very small minority. We will win.
You bring so-called democracy. We saw the democracy, 2000 election. You know that. Only Florida give the vote to George W. Bush. Only 425 vote. Anyway, pass is pass. Right now, world is totally disaster. Whole planet. How we can taking care as a human, climate, environment, and these disaster things. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, nor, we may need to repeat this 100 times before, the people get this. But the fact that we're facing is, if we convict Trump of attempting to overthrow our government and imprison him and hold the Republican Party responsible for continuing to support him, then we can make progress on all of that, on climate, on everything. If we don't do that, we can't do anything. That is what's before us. And just to go into more detail, we went over this before, but it's important. People need to understand that he will be judged on the reasonable person's standard, meaning that the jury will be asked, do you think a reasonable person would expect that for a crowd to assemble outside of the Capitol would stop the certification of Joe Biden? That's what they're going to be asked. And they're going to say, no, a reasonable person would have expected them to get violent because that's the only action that would have, had any chance of doing anything. And it did delay the vote for a few hours, but the jury will understand that. The jury will understand that no reasonable person would have expected, a crowd to encircle the Capitol. And you have to understand, the senators and representatives in the Capitol building could neither see nor hear them, in their chambers. So the jury is going to understand, no, Trump intended them to be violent, and that is why he will be convicted of treason.
George, don't get into our national politics and so many disasters happening in the world. Pandemic, some, slowly stop, but another variant already came in China. BA plus Omicron. It's called BA plus or AB plus Omicron. Now millions of people is locked down. Some 2 or 3 provinces in China. Same thing, whole Afghanistan, whole Sudan, Mali, South Africa. So pandemic is not gone from our world. This is, God gifted. We do not learn ourselves. Politicians, general public, and leaders in the world, we do not work for the humanity. We do not work for this planet. That's why this punishment came in this world. Now human being is sufferer. So pandemic is one of the worst things human life since March 2020. As of today is running. So still our politicians make a politics, and so many right-wing party, they are against of vaccine, against of coronavirus, but they are affected lot. But do you have any advice for American people how they can, stay safe side from this virus? George?
Yeah, we talked about this before, Noor. If the rich who control the news media will not allow the citizens access to have their voice heard, to have true information presented to them, and the people, we the people here in the United States and in every country of the world, we can't win a military fight. So, what would hopefully scare the rich into finally doing the right thing is the threat of bioterrorism, the threat that this new variant in China didn't just emerge, was created. And the threat that the people who are tired of the rich controlling everything will continue to create variants until the rich release their power and allow we the people to make the world the way it needs to be.
You are right. The rich and lobbyists, they are controlling the world. Right now, another point, George, from Ukraine have a lot of good school, college, university, medical college, science institute, so many world like African continental, Asian, so many countries, people came to study Ukraine. Now they cannot get out, but they try to came all the way, like hundreds of miles walking to the Poland border, and it look like a racism. They not get the entry. One by one, they stay on the line like a 2-3 miles. This is called democracy. They are brown and black. That's why European Union and NATO, they are making joke with these people. My view is Asian and African, those countries, why they do not support America? Reason is that America have a lot of racism. America destroy Afghanistan, destroy Syria, Libya, Yemen, now is Sudan, Ethiopia, Mali. But our news media is not showing anything. News media only showing their color, their race, white people from Ukraine. How world going to be support us? George?
Yeah, and the rich, the rich don't care either about the black race or the Asian people or the white race. They just don't care. They don't care about the Ukrainians. They don't care about sub-Saharan Africa. And that's what we need to wake up and understand. It's not black against white. It's we the people against the rich. That once we understand that, and hopefully newscasts like this are helping people really finally get this. Once enough people get this, the rich are done. And it may be coming sooner than expected because they overreached so fatally on January 6th with that insurrection. You raised the point before that no U.S. president had ever been, jailed for anything they did while president. No president ever attempted to overthrow our government before. So we're in completely new territory. And I have faith. I have faith that people died, in World War II to defend this country against the Nazis and all. People died to establish this democracy. And we remember, we're not going to lose our democracy because some rich people don't want to pay taxes, or some rich people, are just drunk with power and just will not give it up regardless of what happens to them or their children. They don't understand the American character. We will rise to this. And we will imprison Trump, and we will hold the Republican Party accountable, and then we will reform the Democratic Party.
Another point I'm going to bring, George. Trump administration and Trump, they have a lot of political advisors. Also administration, they have so many people advise him, বিভিন্ন sector, বিভিন্ন size, varieties way. You know that. But they push probably Trump to do that. Why we do not arrest them? So many advisors, so many Congress, so many senators, so many governors pushing him to do that. So many attorneys. So what kind of democracy we are calling about, and what kind of justice we have it, George?
Exactly. That's the point. His advisors are advising him on behalf of the rich. The senators and representatives that are voting with him are not voting for the people. They're voting for the rich campaign, contributors that allow them to win elections. So yes, this idea that we have a democracy it's just not the truth. We have a plutocracy. Money controls this country. We need to understand that.
I think this is joke. Whatever our Congress doing right now, January 6th investigation, probably end of the day, you're going to see they make like a joke. They just lose couple of $1 million taxpayer money. If our law enforcement, they can do the right things, right job, they can arrest, FBI can arrest all advisors, all governors who support him, who push him up to do that. All whatever congressmen and senators, they can arrest them. Whatever they are, elected or selected. But they don't do that. If you and me, we do some kind of against one word you can say against the government, you're going to get arrested. This is called democracy, and this is called Justice Department and Law Enforcement Authority. Mr. George?
I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. But I have faith in the American people. I think the American people will understand that Trump did try to overthrow our government, but we have no choice but to imprison him. And even though we have just the slimmest of democracies, at least we do have a democracy. The rich don't control everything. So yes, I trust that the American people will understand that we have no choice but to imprison Trump. And that will be the beginning of the end of the rich controlling the world.
Viewers, we are talking American politics inside. America and American peoples, they are supporting Ukrainian human being, and they are supporting globally so many disasters. But our lobbyists and politicians, they making their judgment. They are our representative for the country. Presidents, senators, administration, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and powerful senators, United States. They making judgment, for American people. Hopefully, they're going to do good judgment, right judgment. Right now, whole of the world, only few countries, 200, over 210 or 13 countries in the world. European Union in 30 countries, and America, Canada, Australia, 33. In South America, Colombia, Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, another 3 countries in South America, 36 or 40 countries only support United States on the UN and also this war in Ukraine and Russia. All of the world, other like 180 countries, they do not support us. Reason? Our politicians, our leaders, they did bad judgment. They do not do right judgment. They fight for religious. They fight for color. They fight for rich money. Now, America have to be understood. American people gonna be suffer. So, viewers, our time almost end for today. George, your last word, brother.
The last word, I am optimistic because I believe I know the American character, and I believe that Trump will be prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced to prison. And that is the beginning of a new world.
Thank you, George. Thank you for your last word. Viewers, support all humanity. Palestine, Yemen, Syria, Libya, Ethiopia, Sudan, those countries, also Afghanistan and Ukrainian. They are everyone our brother and sisters. Whatever color, whatever race they are, and whatever religious, they are totally human being, God-gifted human being. Please support them. We have our website also. If anyone can send money, Millennium Foundation USA.com. If anyone like to donate for disasters country, they can donate it. Viewers, we love to help globally. Right now, whatever happened in disaster in Ukraine, our politicians make disaster everywhere in the world. Politician is not doing right time, right judgment. They're doing wrong things. Innocent human being going death and sufferer. Anyway, today's America is end over here. You can see our network, all iOS and Android device, and also all smart TVs like Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku, Amazon, etc. Also, we are in Amazon Fire Stick, Roku Stick, Apple TV, and Jadu TV, Radiant, and Jago BD. Globally, Horizon Satellite. Viewers, our social network address, Millennium News 24/7. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Our YouTube channel, News Channel M24. Our website, millenniumnews24.com, millenniumtv24.com. Viewers, our colleague, friends, reporters, editorial, and our good friend, our broadcaster, IT, behind of camera person, everyone working round the clock for you. News, views, talk show, so many program, every single day, round the clock. We applause and respect and love our friends and colleagues. Viewers, whatever you are, stay safe, peace, love, and happiness. Goodbye and take care for today. Job